Welcome back to another episode of the Dat Fitness Business Podcast. Tom Blackman with Dan Smith. Dan, hello.
Hi. Hello.
Excellent. And today we've got a quick one today, and we're going to try and be quick and not go on tangents and talk about different forms of marketing that you can use with your clients. What we found working with different coaches and talking to coaches and seeing what coaches post is there's a lot of direct marketing going on, probably because of all the stuff with certain authors and certain classic authors. But what's not talked about is different perspectives on the marketing. So what we're going to talk about today is Dan's going to give us his insights into slow marketing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about perspective-based marketing, just to give you a few different ideas about how to approach your clients and potentially how to engage with them, rather than saying, I'm looking for 5 people who want to do this thing in 30 days. Dan, anything to add to that?
No, sounds good. All in.
Cool. Okay, so what we should probably do is go, what is the two types of marketing? So, Dan, what is slow marketing in 60 seconds?
60 seconds. Wow. Put me under pressure.
You can talk slow if you want.
So it is. It's not a strategy, right? It's a philosophy. Basically, underpins a lot of the bigger picture stuff. Rather than, in like today's world, everything's about fast, quick, instant gratification. Dopamine is like the key, right? And actually, there's this movement. It's not even that new. I think slow marketing has been around for ages, but it's about taking a step back and trying to develop meaningful connections and sustainable growth. That's really, if you were to distill it down, what it is. That was less than 60 seconds, so you can have that time back.
Excellent. Thanks for the time back. It's like people who write K instead of OK. Now they've got all that time in the world to do stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for that. We'll delve into that in a second. In terms of perspective-based marketing, which is something I've been quite interested in recently, it's the best way I can analogize this is that, in Wolf of Wall Street, you get that scene and he goes, "Sell me this pen," yeah, and all the people in the front row are like, "Oh, this pen's great. It does this. It does this. It does this," which is more of a direct marketing approach. But what they haven't thought about is the perspective of the buyer in terms of, well, why does he actually need a pen? What's the reason behind them wanting a pen? And I think I see this quite a lot as people just like they're on broadcast in terms of, you must buy this thing, it's so awesome. Whereas they don't get into the thing of why do you actually want this thing, or why do you think you want this thing? And so perspective-based marketing is more about, if you see 2 people, that classic thing, that 2 people and there's a 6 on the floor, one says 9, one says 6. You need to think about it from the perspective of the person seeing the 6, not you, the coach, seeing the 9.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And and that's basically it. I don't know if that was 60 seconds or not.
I think you're thereabouts.
Just thereabouts. So I didn't get any time back. So cool.
That makes sense.
Okay, so let's talk about slow marketing. Some examples of slow marketing.
Well, I think let's just get rid of the fact that it's called slow marketing. I think that can put people off because they're like, "Oh, it's going to take fucking ages, and I need to grab clients now." And I'm like, "Well, actually, how's that been going for you so far? Tell me about those posts asking for 5 guys. Like, how's that going?"
It's been slow, mate.
Exactly. Or it's not going anywhere. So put that aside and then think about how can you create an environment that your audience feels seen, heard, respected, understood, and safe to be able to then interact and engage with you. And a lot of the times coaches are moaning about our reach is down, engagement's down, and no one's interacting. I'm like, well, that's probably partly to do with this, because you're in that position where you're going from like little sales hack thing to something else, and make X amount in 90 days, or if you're not doing this, it's going to kill your business, and only available to fast action takers. You want to 10x everything. Like, it's just boring. It's really boring. So it blends into a big like hot mess of regurgitation and like motivational quotes, and like people just zone out to it. Whereas if you think about coming at it from a different angle, the strategy is not just about selling, it's about building relationships and lasting relationships. It's more of a mindful approach where you emphasize the quality over like the quantity of things, and also genuine engagement over like quick sales. Yes, you can make sales and you can make you can get clients from it, but you're not doing it at the kind of the expense of just burning bridges with your audience and then not enjoying it as well. For me, I feel like marketing feels terrible for a lot of coaches because of those reasons I mentioned before. They feel like it doesn't feel authentic, and they don't want to do it. It's not enjoyable. Whereas if you took this approach, you might find that actually things start to feel a little bit more enjoyable, and you have more success from it anyway because you're enjoying that more, rather than going from the next thing to the next thing and then finding that no one's really interested in it. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's how I'd describe it, or what it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, because a lot of people don't like social media because it's like, oh, I've got to DM people. I've got to cold DM people with 50. I won't name names. I was on a call with a guy the other day, and no names. He's invested quite a lot into one of the big names, and they have like a success coach or whatever. And what obviously they've got to the outreach side of it, and the outreach is go into Facebook, find people who fit your demographic, add them as friends, and then go into their friends and add them as friends, the people who might fit your demographic, and then message them and invite them to join your group or talk about, whatever, fat loss, this, that, the other, right?
Nice.
So that is essentially the 50 DM thing, isn't it? And there is actually, the outreach is you aiming to hit 50 DMs a day. And that's an outreach strategy from one of these big names who are like, oh, we have secret strategies. And this guy's like, I feel like a bit of a dick doing that, because I'm not that sort of person. I hate getting those messages myself. And now that's the outreach strategy that I've got to do. And when he goes back to his success coach, he said, oh, I'm not really happy about this. The answer was, oh, well, maybe online coaching isn't for you. Wow.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about as well now. So, yeah, fuck that.
I mean, I just had no answer for that.
Nah. And they're the kind of people who go, oh, coaches are coming into the space and then like leaving it in record time. Why do you think that is? Because of shit like this. And he's probably a decent coach, right? And all of a sudden he's gone, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this because I won't do this shit. Yeah.
So this guy I've known for ages. We've been friends for a long time, since bodybuilding times. And he's very knowledgeable, great, knows what he's doing. He's coached loads of people offline, and now he wants to do his online stuff. So, and this is what he's been told, the first sort of thing going into, and it's really put him off.
Yeah.
And like you said, he is a great coach, but been given the advice that's doesn't align with his values, and so now he's thinking of leaving the space.
Yeah, but
that's not right.
Yeah, it's wrong, isn't it? Because that's happened. I don't know how many people that's probably happened to as well. Because I hear those stories as well around people feeling that they're a failure because of these like hacks and tactics that they've told they have to do to be successful. And you think you don't have to do that, and there's proof of that as well. But yeah, that stuff winds me up probably the most out of. I can deal with all the other shit and the bold claims and everything, but that stuff where you're basically saying, you're not cut out for this, that's not on.
Yeah, you're not cut out of it because you can't sit on your phone all day sending DMs to people.
Yeah.
What, you've got other businesses to run, you've got a couple of gyms to run, and you've got a family. Oh, fuck that. They're second.
I feel as well, like I am pretty much all of last year I took this approach for my marketing, and it was one of the busiest years of business from taking that approach. I didn't spend any time DMing people. I didn't do that. I mean, I still don't really do that now. I'll speak to people and have conversations, but I don't have I'll send these DMs every day because I don't want to do that. Like, nothing about that excites me. But if I can create an environment where I know that I've got a connection that's being formed with my audience, I'm gaining their trust, I'm becoming an authority. There's calls to actions in there, and that's seem to be successful. So why can't why can't other people do that? And they can do it as well. It's just that the other people
I,
push that, don't they? Yeah.
I think what you've hit the nail on the head in the fact that it's people want fast results, because again, this sort of, I think these big names are like, well, in 3 months you should be at this level doing this, and relationships take a little while to build, don't they? In terms of, if you just added someone as a friend, or they just added you as a follower, it takes time to build that relationship. That's only the first level, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to build up that trust and engage them with stuff that they are interested in seeing,
Yeah.
and enticing conversations, like like you're talking about the conversation that's going on in their head,
Yeah.
the stuff that they really find valuable, the stuff that they feel seen. I think that's what you said, wasn't it? They
Yeah.
feel seen because you understand their problems,
Yeah. That's it.
and that's why people are going to engage with you.
The empathetic side of stuff, like having more empathy, is a really big part of this. I did an input on this today for the coaches. It was around the art of relevance and how your content should be relevant to where that person is in your audience at any one point. And it's about getting into those conversations that they're having, and even the things that potentially they're not aware of, like trying to move them across that line of being like getting closer towards maybe taking an action or figuring out whether it's a good fit. Because ultimately, for me, that's what it comes down to: is like, is it a good fit for the client and for you as a coach? Like, we're not just getting a yes out of any means necessary. It's about figuring out if it's the right fit, and slow marketing allows you to do that, because you're not just like someone else putting out, I'm looking for 5 people. Again, like that's, I don't know, 2018 marketing style. I feel like it's but I still see it happen, and then you feel icky because you're pressuring people into like working through this fake scarcity and all these like tactics that you're using, or it's closing today, take action soon. And you think, like, if someone applied after that, you'd still take them on, right? So that's what makes you feel horrible about it. So kind of pivot to that slower marketing approach. You shift your focus from selling to then serving, and you form genuine relationships with your market. Like, and it might not be the instant thing that you want, but I guarantee you'll have much more enjoyment of it, and you will have a more successful business as you keep going with it. It's hard to see past that sometimes.
I think and what you're talking about enjoying social media as well. One of the because last year I made a decision to like cut out, and not because I don't like the people, but I just didn't need to see that stuff on my feed, so I cut out my feed to make it more enjoyable. And most of my feed now is it's probably memes and content about husbands and wives, like problems, that sort of stuff. It's it's not business coaching. There's very few sort of like business inspiration people who I follow, as in like I follow a lot of people, but who actually come up in my feed, and I'm enjoying social media a lot more. And when I comment on someone's stuff, there's no ulterior motive behind that, because I only follow, as in notifications follow, people who actually enjoy watching content. Because I don't really enjoy watching, like what you're saying, like, here's 5 tips to lose weight sort of stuff. So I don't really. Those people I might follow, but they're not in my feed.
Yeah.
But the people I do follow and comment on are people who have who have done better things with their content and are more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And I do comment on them because it's like, that's actually interesting. Actually, that made me laugh. No ulterior motive behind it, and that's made social media for me a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Now, you could say, oh, that's a slow marketing approach, and I suppose it is to a certain extent, because I would love to work with those people because they're my sort of people. But I'm engaging with people without any intent of, oh, I hope they like this comment and then come and work with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is to an extent. But I think that's just showing the shift in how people use the platforms as well, because I'm probably more on that side of it, the way you've gone with it in terms of content, and just enjoying making content for the sake of, like, I enjoy making this style of content, or this is a funny thing, I think it's funny, let's see. And if it's not funny to other people, then that's fine. But I'd rather do that than create a Canva post with like, I don't know, just
Have a nicely curated Instagram. What was it called? What they call the mosaic? Is it the mosaic?
yeah, like or just
Have a very
like a lifeless
nicely.
Canva post. It's just really
Yes.
bland.
Yeah.
But it's like just shares information. Like, here's some tips to lose weight. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I just feel like I don't. I don't. Some
Do you feel
I
targeted
feel
when you
bad
see that
saying
content?
that as well, because like some people genuinely don't know, or don't know how to then sort of create different content, which I get as well. But at least sometimes think about, if you're creating that, how would you react to it if you saw it? Like, because I don't know, maybe that's not what happens, but I always think that now is like, if I saw this post, like, what would I think? Am I going to be moved in some kind of emotion? Am I going to find it funny? Or am I going to think, oh, that's really like something I'm doing at the moment, or I could learn from that, or I could like take that and use it? If it's just information, it's not going to have any impact. It doesn't have any impact anymore. I don't know. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So that's slow marketing.
Yeah.
Good. From the sort of perspective-based marketing stuff that I've been looking at, I suppose it is in a way similar to slow marketing in terms of your engaging with people in the conversation they're having. So an example of this would be, the classic coaches thing is, I'll lose 10 kilos without giving up pizza, which is, from our perspective as coaches, or from, if you're coaching somebody as a physique coach, that sounds great, doesn't it? Hey, you want weight loss, I'll give you weight loss. And you know what? You won't have to give up pizza. You won't have to give it your favorite food. But what about if that person, your demographic, your niche, they really want to give up pizza or their favorite food, because that's the thing that's triggered them. That's the thing they binge on. And no matter how many calorie deficit they do, and flexible eating they do, and all this other great things that you as a coach teach them to do, if they are doing all this stuff, they can absolutely mess that up in 10 minutes with one phone call to Domino's, because you told them that they don't have to give up pizza. So for that person, you saying, you can lose 10 kilos without giving up pizza, that's not the conversation they're having in their head. The conversation they're having in their head is, look, I want to lose some weight, and can you slap this fucking bit of pizza out my hand, please, and stop me eating it? Give me alternatives to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So seeing it from their perspective, in terms of, like some people will be like, say if you're doing with like parents, then one of the issues with parents, as I know, is that things generally tend to mess up, even though they're really well planned.
Yeah.
So marketing from the point of, I'll give you a really, great plan to do this. Okay, but I need something a bit more flexible. I don't need a rigid plan. I need something which has loose, like A and B and plan C options. Not a set codified follow this route. Whereas someone who doesn't have kids, who is maybe doesn't have a partner, and is literally just, I'm head down, I want to get into shape, whatever I need. Right, here's a rigid plan for you.
Yeah.
So seeing it from the perspective, and I think what you're talking about is the conversation they're having in their head already, the stuff they're already thinking, they feel seen, is the same, is similar sort of thing.
Yeah, because otherwise, it's not really describing the problem, is it? That's your interpretation and evaluation of like what they need to do about it. So in that instance, you're like, you feel like you're solving a problem, but actually it's not really what the problem is for them. And then you're just giving your interpretation, which actually could have a negative impact, because they're like, "No, fuck you. I want to do this." So, and I see that a lot with, it's like the bios that say, "I help guys, lose weight without giving up their favorite foods," and that. And you're like, I mean, everyone's got that bio, right? But that doesn't solve the problem. It's just what everyone else does. Yeah. I'm not saying
that doesn't make you stand out, does it?
No, but also it's your evaluation of the problem. It's not actually the problem. You think that's the problem. Everyone needs to lose weight and keep their favorite foods in. Right? Well, some people probably don't. Yeah.
No. Case in point is that I've recently had to lose weight because of certain health complications, which was about 2 years ago. I had to change my life around, so I don't eat as much red meat anymore. I make sure I do my stretching. I do all those sorts of things. So I've given up some of my favorite foods because they were higher in cholesterol and stuff like that. So I don't have pizza that often anymore. Although I used to have like a pizza maybe once a week.
Sad.
I mean, even though like in terms of calorie deficit, I still maintain a very good shape and I'm not fat by any means. But having a pizza for me is potentially I can massively smash that. And there's a lot of saturated fat there. And all the krill oil in the world is not going to offset that.
Man, that's I don't want to be like
that. I still do enjoy pizza, but it is not the regularity that I used to have it. It's like a once every 2 months sort of thing, and I'm fine with that because although I love pizza, although I like that sort of thing, I can have something else, which is fine. But for me, saying you can lose weight without giving up pizza, well, actually, I do want to give up pizza because that's part of the sort of the eating healthy thing for me.
Yeah. So it's having a deeper understanding of what really is going on, and that comes from listening properly to the audience and your potential clients, because like those things that we mentioned are surface level. Like give up your favorite foods, and you don't have to do cardio, don't have to train 7 days a week. Like, no one's thinking that. No one's going, I'm gonna have to train 7 days a week if I need to lose weight. Well, maybe they are, but like very few people. They're thinking about all the other stuff like you mentioned. I've just had a kid and my life's just turned upside down.
It might be off to random trips to the hospital every now and again. And no one knows.
If someone said to me, "Yeah, I'll help you how to still stay in fairly good shape and navigate multiple hospital trips over the year," I'll be like, "Yeah, that's me."
Yeah, don't get too fat and don't overeat too much. Stay in a half decent shape and still manage to look after your child. Yeah, sold. Yeah. Where do I sign?
How to navigate hospital canteens. Oh, brilliant. Yeah,
here's my free guide. Pull out your PDF when you're in the thing. Dan, I know you've got to go in a sec because you've got a client. So that was a really quick one, coming up to about 22 minutes. So nice bit of knowledge bombs there. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. And we will be back with another excellent DAP Fitness Business podcast in a couple of weeks.
Bye.